Alright, it's a late weekly roundup again. Sorry about that, but I had a really busy week actually. I've just gone back to school and I've had a lot of things to do up till now. And also the sub for the Arc 5 episodes were late in their release again, so yeah, there's not really much I can do about that. So I'm not gonna set a certain date for when I'll do this. I will just try my best to do it once a week. So with that in mind, I have seen the third episode of Arc 5 with subs. The second time actually, but the first time in a while where I've watched it in English subs, because they are really late with that, but there's not much I can do about that, so that is just how it is. So Arc 5 episode 3 came out. It was pretty interesting actually. So it starts off with Yuya finally pendulum summoning successfully. He's figured out how to do it, and his dueling buddy or whatever says that was the 291st try. 291 attempts at doing it. Like, how unintelligent must this guy be to have to try 291 times before figuring out what to do? Like, it's just actually ridiculous. So later on in the episode, he does some more stupid things, but like normally I'd be like, wait, why would the protagonist do that? Now I understand why this protagonist does anything stupid, and no doubt he will do more stupid things throughout the series. It's because he's an idiot. It takes him 291 attempts to figure out what to do. Like, there are 3 cards. There are 3 cards that have the pendulum symbol on them. How does it take you 200? Like, there aren't 291 different variables. You put them. I think there would be like 9 different variations of things that you could do. Between Chronomancy, Odd Eyes Pendulum, and the other thing, the other pendulum. Like, why? It makes no sense. Why that took 291 attempts. So that was a great way to start the episode, and then it got better because it showed a poster with Karate Man on it. I like how they do that actually. They have posters of references to things, like they had that in Keto as well. But Karate Man, I was happy about that because Karate Man was my guy back in the day. Almost probably 10 years ago now, back when I used to play in my primary school. Karate Man was the guy. I'd summon him, I'd double his attack and punch into something, and then it would die. I was like, what? It was so good. It wasn't that great, but it's just nostalgia. I like that. But then the actual fun stuff of the episode. So Yuya gets approached by some guy who's like, yeah, let's duel at my expensive school or whatever. So Yuya's like, alright, sure, whatever. And they go to the school and they start playing. But before they start playing, the guy is like, oh, can I see your pendulum cards? Yuya's like, okay, he takes them out, and the guy just takes them, just snatches them. He's like, mine now. So obviously, the people that make the anime know what the game is like. They've been to enough tournaments to have just seen all the thievery that goes on. They're like, yeah, all right, we have to incorporate this into the anime as well. So that's what happens. He gets the pendulum things taken from him, and then for some reason, rather than just walking off with them, the guy's like, "Oh, but let's play, let's play with them. I want to see how they work." He's like, "Whatever, fine, let's play," because he's not gonna like beat the guy up or anything and take them. he's with a bunch of kids and girls, and the guy is his posse, so there's nothing that can really go on in his favor. So then they start playing, and the guy who goes to school uses his action field spell or whatever, and it's like prison clock tower or some weird thing like that. You're like, fine, whatever. But then, like, he traps the friends of Yuya, like, locks them up in the tower. The tower materializes, puts them really high up into the air, creates water. Like, this is it's like Tower Bridge. It just creates that out of nowhere. So, like, every episode that I watch, I will be angry about the fact that they have this technology yet use it for card games, but also the action card things as well, which I'll get onto. But like, this is messed up. This is messed up. This isn't like happy, fun meadow like the last episode was. This is some crazy stuff. Like, he's just made torture out of nowhere. This is a children's TV show. That's the thing. I don't mind when it's dark. In fact, some of the things that I liked about this episode was the fact that it was more dark. You had the guy who goes to school who's really quite twisted, and I like that. I like the fact that he's quite twisted. I think that he will lose, and then because at this point he's very like addicted with pendulum summoning, I guess. So he'll drop out of the limelight for a bit and then come back with new things and be even more crazy and whatnot. He's working for the guy behind the scenes anyway. The guy behind the scenes will be the main antagonist. But I like that it's dark, episode 3. But I think that this is a bit weird for a kid show, like having people chained to a tower that's threatening to fall down, like thousands. What am I saying? Like hundreds, I guess, hundreds of meters up in the air, quite a long way up in the air, with just water beneath them. Like, they couldn't have had a cushion or something to break their fall. No, it's water. Like, realistically speaking, you can't really say realistically speaking actually when applying it to this, but if this were applied to real life, that would be really, really dangerous. And this is meant to be something that, you know, children get up to. This is a school. This is a school that has this. This is a school that has the option to chain people, God knows how long, up in the air. And we as the audience are meant to just be like, yeah, that makes complete sense. But then, yeah, they're playing a bit, and Yuya wants to rescue his friends and whatnot, so he summons the snake guy, the purple one. 4-star, 1700 beat. Thinking, yeah, not bad. He starts swinging around. The other guy summons this 1400 attack thing. It's like a board, so he's hovering around. 1400 beat. Alright. And then Yuya, for some reason, sees an action card and just grabs it. And it turns out to be one that hinders him rather than helps him. It's a trap that reduces his own monster's attack. Firstly, why would they put that within the system? But to discourage people from grabbing action cards? It increases the element of randomness, which is already created by that system, which again makes no sense. So not only now can you happen to stumble across something that will save you, you can also happen to stumble across things that will hinder you. And because the latter now exists, the probability of the former happening lessens. So either way, it makes it more luck based. So when you do decide to action card, you're running the risk of shooting yourself in the foot. It's just, why do this? So his monster's attack gets reduced. The guy attacks him, he finds another one, it reduces it even further. You're like, what? And then why would he even grab the action card in the first place? Like, firstly, how many action games or whatever must he have played? He played at least 291. Right? He played at least 291 games. Probably using this action duel system because they always seem to. They can't just have a regular game in this anime. At least with 5Ds every now and then they'd be like, yeah, we're going to have a standing duel rather than a speed duel. This one, it's only been 3 episodes, but so far there hasn't been any variation. So I'm saying that there's a very high probability that he's played at least 300 games with the action dueling system. In actuality, it's probably a lot more considering that it is the anime. And he's never found out that action cards can be bad as well. The people on TV, like he's seen it on TV, grew up watching it. It's like a sport. It's like being a football fan and not knowing that the offside rule exists, and then it comes up and you're like, oh, I didn't know this existed. It's like, yeah, this is the game that you're playing. You should know that this exists. So he didn't know that were the case for some reason. Sorry, that was the case for some reason. And also, why would you grab an action card anyway? Your guy is stronger than his. He has to do something to you. Why would you go out of your way to play around something that doesn't need to be played around? Like, he has to play around you. So then if he grabs an action card and it's, you know, like boost your monster's attack by 500 or something, and then suddenly the situation changes, then yeah, go for it, grab an action card. But conversely, he could grab the action card and it could be bad, and he's not doing anything with that 1400 attack, nothing, you know? It does nothing to you. And if Yuya hadn't messed it up, he'd have been in a very, very good position. And the rest of the episode reveals that. So Yuya messes up. His guy gets run over by battle. He summons something with 500 attack. I don't know what it is. Within the context of the episode, it lets him ride on water. So he's riding on water. It has 500 attack. And then the opponent draws this card called Release Trade. Now, Release Trade is a card with the effect. It's a normal spell. Contribute 1 monster you control. Add 1 monster with 1 level higher than that from your deck to your hand. And it is a... like, that's the anime effect. So yeah, normal spell. So then he has Magician of Chronomancy in his hand. So he uses that to tribute the 4-star to add the 5-star from his hand. So if Yuya just wasn't an idiot, he wouldn't have done anything last turn. The snake thing wouldn't have died. He'd have ran over the opponent's card. The opponent would have drawn Release Trade, seen his hand of like level 7, level 6, level 5 or whatever the things in his hands were, because they weren't level 4, and Magician of Chronomancy, and been like, wow, my hand is really bad at the moment. And then Yuya could have advanced his position or swung for game next time. Would have won. Probably would have won. But no. So then the guy manages to search the other pendulum guy, Astromancy, places them both down, pendulum summons, and that's the end of the episode. It's a cliffhanger. And I was thinking, Yuya, man. So you messed up last episode by not knowing what your cards did. Took you 291 attempts to figure out what your cards did. Which, like, if you think about the first episode, when he pendulum summoned, the fact that he didn't know what he was doing, like, there was a 1 in 291 chance of that scenario happening, clearly, because it took him 291 attempts afterwards to repeat that scenario. Actually, 292 if you count the duel in the second episode. So that was a 1 in 292 chance of the things that occurred in the first episode happening, which were pivotal for the rest of the plot, presumably. So yeah, 1 in 292. Then he gives the guy his cards for no reason. Like, if I were an anime card and I had cards that belonged only to me, I wouldn't let people see them. I'd be like, yeah, you wanna play, fine, but no, you don't get to look at them, no. And then I'd beat them, and it would all be fine. And then all this stuff with the with the Viper and the action cards and whatnot, he messed up. And the other thing annoyed me as well with the basically the tower started leaning over, falling down, and the fat kid or whatever is about to fall. So User and the other kids are all like holding on, and the fat kid looks down and sees the water beneath him, starts crying, pouring his eyes out, and User's like, "Ah, stop, boys don't cry." I'm like, what? Excuse me? You are on top of a tower. The kid's holding on for his dear life, and you're telling him not to cry because he's a boy? Telling him to be brave? Like, no, no. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. Like, anyone would be absolutely terrified in that situation, especially a kid. Like, that would be traumatic. If that were in real life, he would probably be scarred for the rest of his life. He would be afraid of heights and have vertigo and many things. He would be damaged from that point forward. That has wrecked his life. And she's telling him to be brave because he's a boy. And then the other kid chips in like, yeah, Yuya's not crying. Like, yeah, he's not crying because he's an idiot. He's not crying because he's just mentally challenged. And he cried in one of the previous episodes as well. So it's like, oh, he doesn't cry. Yeah, he does cry. And he puts his goggles on as well when he's thinking of crying. So that's like, oh, if I say, yeah, I don't cry, but then my eyes water, I'm just like, just wipe it away. I'm still crying. I'm still letting out emotion in a manner that is not becoming for a boy, according to User. So what's that all about? Like, was it because they didn't want to make her out to be this damsel in distress trope, where she's holding on like, ah, oh, Yuya, save me? Because she still is that. She still is the damsel in distress. It's just that now I guess she's a bit more brave, but it's not. It's not like, oh, we need to be brave for Yuya or something meaningful like that. It's just, oh, stop crying. He's a kid. He's a kid. Saying that stuff to a kid. Yeah. Besides all these complaints, I guess, overall I actually really enjoyed the episode. Compared with the last two, I think it's improving. It's taking a turn for the better. I just like ranting about these things. It entertains me. But yeah, I think it's improving. It should be interesting. I think that the fact that it is this dark, I guess, at this stage, is very interesting. I don't think with any other of the Yu-Gi-Oh animes they got this dark this early besides the original. Obviously, the original was great, so yeah, I'll keep on watching. I shall look forward to this. So that was that. Then Naruto manga 674 came out. Basically, that one we just got to see more of the fight between Madara, Sasuke, and Naruto. So it turns out that Madara has this thing called Limbo, where like he has an invisible clone of him in another world, and Naruto can sense him and Sasuke can see him. So then it's just Madara working out the weaknesses of Sasuke's Rinnegan and Sasuke working out the weakness of Madara's Limbo and all this sorts of thing. And Madara's left eye slot is still empty at this point, and he presumably wants Sasuke's new left eye for his own. So suddenly he just dashes to Kakashi, rips out his eye, which is like, that was an anticlimax, to be honest. I was reading it and I saw him just appear in front of Kakashi and just rip out Kakashi's eye, with Kakashi not doing anything. And I don't know, it was just like, well, if you could have done it that easily, why didn't you do it ages ago? if it were that easy to obtain that eye, then done it ages ago. Why now? Why now is he suddenly like, oh, you know what I could really do with Kamui? And it seemed feeble from Kakashi as well, because Kakashi is generally like this cool, uh, badass sort of guy. And then he just put up no resistance. Like Madara was just like hi, and Kakashi just like all this nonsense. So then Sasuke is just too slow. Madara disappears into the Obito dimension. So presumably he wants the Rinnegan from Obito or something. I don't know. But that is that for this episode. Sorry for this manga. that was it for the manga. Yeah, I'm really tired, so yeah, things aren't quite processing as quickly in my head. But yeah, it was a good read. It's always an interesting read at this stage. Be interesting to see how everything pans out. So that's that. Then other things that happened this week. Moyes got sacked. That's pretty big. Moyes getting sacked. To be honest, it's been on the cards for a long time. I was gonna do a video on Moyes out, but it seems that they've made that decision for me. So I don't know. Like you hear things on both sides. I think that he maybe wasn't shown the respect that he deserved by the players and fans, but by the same token, from day one, it always seemed like there was something missing from him and what he would give to United. It never really seemed like he was up for it, and the results this season have been very poor, all things considered. And I don't know. I think that if you are going to stick with a manager, they need to give you something to believe in. Like with Rodgers and Liverpool last year, even though they came 7th, which isn't what the Liverpool board wanted, the type of football that they played and his attitude, the team's attitude, the things that he had done to improve the team were evidence towards him being the correct choice to carry on. With Moyes, you never really got any sense that he had the same effect. The football that they played was not good to watch. You never got the feeling like he knew what he was doing tactically. The fact that every lineup that he played in his, I think, 51 games in charge of United were different shows that he kept feeling the need to experiment. Like he never really found his right 11. And the people that he brought in, Fellaini has not had a good season. Mata hasn't had the opportunity, I guess, to show how good he really is. But I think the thing with the Mata signing is that Mata wasn't the solution to United's problems. Signing a number 10 was not going to solve United's problems, because United didn't need a number 10. For Moyes to have said in the summer when they could have got Ozil that, or Ozil, sorry, that they didn't need a number 10, that was a fair assessment. If you look at the problems with the team, like you would address centre back, right back, left back, centre defensive midfield partner for Carrick, both wings. Yeah, those would be the areas that United would want to improve. So the number 10 was actually the least of United's problems. And to say like, oh, Mata can play on the right, yeah, he can, but he's not as good as when he's at 10. And I think that if you wanted to sign a winger, then just sign a winger, you know. Griezmann was available. Well, it wasn't available, but, you know, you could have got him. You being, if you're a United fan, man, you could have gotten him. There are plenty of good wingers that they could have purchased, and still now plenty of good wingers that they could have purchased. So yeah, Moyes didn't do that well in the transfer window, and again, there are various extents to whether or not that was his fault, but um, I don't think that he could have had so many things out of his favor with 2 transfer windows that that it wouldn't be his fault to enough of an extent to see him gotten rid of. And of course they play 7th. The champions play 7th. No, he just didn't have much respect around the dressing room and things like this. So yeah, he had to go, which is unfortunate. Giggs had a very good first game in charge. Whether or not that was down to him or just down to any sort of change is debatable. I think that no matter who United would have brought in, they'd have gotten a 2-0 just because Moyes was gone. Of course, that's quite a crass thing to say, but it's true. Like when managers that on the side of the players leave, no matter who the replacement really is, they get like a little boost. What I would say was good about the Giggs debut was that when he was winning 2-0, he didn't feel the need to shut up shop. He brought on Mata for Welbeck. Mata, of course, scored 2 goals after coming on, and really should have gotten an assist for Hernandez. Hernandez came on when it was 3-0 up, off for Cleverly. So I always like that. I like it when managers do ballsy things and go for the kill. So if you're a United fan, then that's something positive to take from that front, and that's something that does apply to Giggs, because other managers may not have done that, and that ended up turning a good result in 2-0 into a very good result in a 4-0. So yep. Moyes, it's sad, I guess, but he really didn't make the cut. Like I feel bad for him, holistically, but professionally he didn't do a good enough job, so he had to go. And also Tito passed away, which is very sad. He's been battling with cancer, I think, for a long time, and it's always sad. You know, it's always sad to see things like that. So I think that it's nice that a lot of players and clubs and managers and alumni, I guess, involved in football are paying their respects to him. So I have and I would do the same. So yeah, that's all with that, I think. Oh no, they were the Champions League games as well. So I'll briefly talk about that. Firstly, we saw Chelsea against Atletico, the leg at Atletico. I will I'm writing for a football blog site which my brother and his friend are running, and I intend to write an article on parking the bus as a strategy and why I think that it is okay, like good even, because I know that there were a lot of negative reactions towards the manner in which Chelsea played in that game. Obviously, there is a clear criticism that I could be biased, and I probably am, considering that I am a Chelsea fan, and the happiest moment in my life as a football fan was um, was that evening in Munich when Chelsea won the Champions League. So, and we did it by parking the bus essentially. So I I associate the two things with each other, even though that may not be the best course of action. But I think that it was the best thing to do strategically, because Atletico play on the counter. Chelsea play primarily on the counter, and Chelsea could have played the possession game, but we didn't have Eden. And you're playing, you're switching towards possessive football against the best counter-attacking team probably in Europe at the moment, besides maybe Real Madrid. But it just wasn't smart. It was more intelligent to try and just shut things down, get the draw, and then go to the bridge for the second leg and try and win it there. So yeah, it was a pretty boring watch, but I don't have a problem with it. I think that it was the best thing to do. And for Bayern Real, what I don't understand about that was why Guardiola played Rafinha at right back. The thing that I don't understand isn't the point that they were playing Ronaldo and Rafinha was right back when Lam is their best right back. Like, everyone understands that. What I don't understand is why that wasn't addressed, given the fact that it was so obvious. So anyone could have noticed that Rafinha wasn't the best choice to play at right back. That it would have been better to have Lam at right back and like having Martinez in the middle or something. That's what most people would have done, because Ronaldo is the best player in the world. Like, it was so obvious, but then the fact that that wasn't at all addressed, and the goal that saw Real win came from that right side. It seemed too obvious. It seemed too obvious, and Guardiola's insistence on playing the way that Bayern had played, which is to really commit numbers to midfield. The fullbacks essentially function as midfielders. The man in front of the back four will drop back, and the centre backs can push forward as well. So really quite minimal in defence, which is how they have played in the Bundesliga. The fact that they would do that against again, arguably the best counter-attacking team in Europe, you could debate between Chelsea, Atletico, and Real. I would say it's between Atletico and Real. I would probably say Real, just because of the extraordinary talent that they have on the break, in the form of Ronaldo and Bale, although both of them weren't on the pitch at the same time. The the fact that you would try to play such Barcelona style football against the team that is designed as the antithesis to that is really intriguing. I think that it was just arrogance from Guardiola. We saw it in the game against Man U when he put forward a very offensive team for the leg in Munich, and then the goal from Evra happened, and you were thinking maybe he will suffer for the fact that he put out this sort of side, when he really didn't need to. Against Man U, he could have just played an even numbers type of game, and he would have won quite easily. It would have been a 2-0 rather than a 3-1. But the fact that he did was pretty poor. Because again, Bayern could have lost that game against Man U, because they could have conceded a couple more goals at least if Man U's attack were up to scratch. Um, but he managed to get away with that. You're not going to get away with that against Real Madrid. Real Madrid are arguably the best team in Europe. Most would say Bayern. Um, I would say Real Madrid personally, but that's just because I don't like Guardiola and Bayern that much. Um, and it was arrogant. It was arrogant to put Lam at centre mid, knowing that Ronaldo was at left mid. It was arrogant to play that sort of football, knowing that Madrid are the best counter-attacking team in the world. And yeah, Madrid deserved that 1-0 lead, which they'll take to the Allianz, and yeah, I hope that Madrid will get through. I think that it will be a Real Madrid-Chelsea final, personally. But I would not mind anything with Chelsea in it. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan. From a neutral perspective, I would most prefer Real versus Atletico, because I don't think Bayern deserve it, given their past 2 performances in the Champions League, where Guardiola has been incredibly arrogant in terms of the team that he selected and the way that he's played. I don't think that Bayern deserve to go through. But it all depends on the game this week, because if Bayern come out and they're absolutely fabulous and they just tear Madrid to pieces, then yeah, of course they deserve it. But based on what I've seen so far, I don't think that that's the case. And for Atletico v Chelsea, I think that it will be more of a reverse of what we saw. I think that it will be Atletico digging deep, parking the bus, and it will be Chelsea pushing men forward, mainly because Chelsea can't play Lampard or Mikel due to suspension, and Terry is injured, so I think the most likely we'll be seeing Schwarzer in goal, Cole left back, Azpilicueta right back, Ivanovic and Cahill at centre back, and then we don't have many options in midfield for the holding mid role. So either he'll play David Luiz at centre back and then move Oscar to defensive mid, which is personally what I would love. I would love to see Oscar at defensive mid, but I doubt that would happen. So I think it's more likely there will be Luiz and Ramirez and holding, with just Oscar, Hazard, Willian, or Schürrle, and Eto'o up front. I think would be the most likely lineup, which isn't a parking the bus lineup. It's a go out and just play football lineup. I think that if Chelsea were to park the bus for both legs, then that would be poor. I think that doing what they did at Atletico is fine, but it would be a lot more fine if they came out and really gave it a go at home, because then going out and parking the bus is justified if you're gonna take it home and give it your all. Otherwise, it's a bit poor. But yeah, I think that, to be honest, I think that Chelsea will win the Champions League. I said in the round of 16 that they were the dark horses to win the competition along with Atletico. I also said that one of Chelsea and Atletico would get into the final. So yeah, either way, that's gonna go my way. But yeah, personally, I do think that Chelsea will win it, unless they're paired with Real Madrid. I think that Real Madrid would beat Chelsea, but I think that Chelsea will win. But yeah, hopefully, Chelsea Real final. Otherwise, an Atletico Real final would be great, or just any variation of these 4 teams would be pretty sick. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll put things out later. I have a duel actually filmed from a really stupid angle by the world's biggest pleb, known as Connor Green. So that'll be up. I'm playing against the Great Wall of China himself, Lin Liu. I'm using Mermail. I can't remember what he's using, but yeah, that was a fun game, and some other stuff will probably come up later on. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you around.